Hello and welcome to Mr. Connally's High School Math. Today we're going to be talking about parallel lines, but before we go any further, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel and hit the bell to get notifications about future videos. Guidelines for using this video effectively are: watch and listen to the video, sound should be on. Do not skip ahead, do not just mindlessly copy the work. Pause the video when you need time to write or think, put a question mark next to problems you don't understand, rewatch and listen to the video as needed, and ask questions in class or in the comments below. All right, key concepts for today. How do you graph parallel lines? Let's say we have a line, y equals x plus 1. It's got a slope of 1. And we have another line, y equals x minus 5. Now you notice those lines look like they probably won't touch. So those are parallel lines. How do we know for sure? Well, we can look at their slope. You'll see that slope 2 is exactly 3 over 3, which is also 1. So that means that if the lines are parallel, they have the same slope. So the slope of the first line equals the slope of the second line. Also, you'll notice that they have different y-intercepts. The green line has a y-intercept of 1 and the red line has a y-intercept of -5. Those are some defining characteristics of parallel lines. They have the same slope and they have different y-intercepts. Okay, let's look at what that looks like in the next problem. Are these two lines parallel? Let's look at example 1a. Y minus 8 equals 4 times the quantity x plus 6. So that equation's in point slope form. And y equals -1/4 x minus 2. That one would be slope intercept form. So we got to pull the slopes out, because we know if the slopes are the same, the lines are parallel. All right, so in point slope form, we know the number in front of the quantity right there is going to be the slope. In this case, the slope of the first line equals 4. All right, now let's look at the next one. Number 2. We've got y equals -1/4 x. We know the -1/4 is the slope, so the measure of the second slope is going to be -1/4. Okay, so are those slopes the same? No. 4 does not equal -1/4. Okay, those are actually what we call perpendicular lines, but we'll learn in the next video. Okay, so since they are not equal, they are not parallel. And that's the answer. Okay, let's look at B. Y equals 3/5 x plus 10 and 3x minus 5y equals 15. The first line is in slope intercept form, so that means the slope of the first one equals 3/5. Okay, so now we just need the slope of the second, but of course it's in standard form, so we have to do a little more work. We want to solve for y to get it in slope intercept form, then we can easily find the slope. Also, remember the shortcut from the last video? You could just take, if this is a and this is b, you could just make the opposite of a over b. That would equal the slope. But that's a little shortcut that you can do now if you remember. But I'm going to do it the long way, because that's what I do. Okay, so minus 3x there. Now 15 minus 3x, those are not like terms. I can't do anything about those. So -5y equals -3x plus 15. All right, and now we solve for y by dividing both sides by -5. So I divide every term by -5, and I get y equals 3/5 x minus 3. Okay, this is in slope intercept form. We see that that's 3/5. So we know the slope of the second line equals 3/5. And what do you know? 3/5 equals 3/5. So that means that they are parallel. Oops. All right. So again, if they have the same slope, they're parallel. If they're not the same slope, they're not parallel. All right, let's look at another example. Example 2. Write the equation and graph the line that passes through the point -3, 1 and is parallel to the line y equals -2/3 x plus 3. All right, so first step in this one, we want to graph the line that we need to be parallel to, and then we'll graph the point and go from there. Okay, so y equals -2x negative 2/3 x plus 3. So we know this has a slope of the first line is negative 2/3, and the y-intercept is 3. Okay, so the y-intercept is at positive 3. 1, 2, 3. There's our y-intercept at 0, 3. Okay, and then now we use the slope. The slope is telling us to go down 2 and right 3. So we'll go down 2, 1, 2, and now we'll go to the right 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so there's our next point. We've got 2 points. That's all we need to draw a line. I could go down in 2, 3 again over to here, but it's not necessary. You got a ruler. Go ahead and draw your line through like that. All right, now I need a parallel line that goes through there. Let's look at the point again. We know there's a point of negative 3, 1. So where is that? 1, 2, 3, and up 1. Okay, so at this point, we need to find a line that's parallel to the red line, but also goes through negative 3, 1. And if you think about it, I could make an infinite number of parallel lines to that one. But there's only one that goes through negative 3, 1. So we're going to go ahead and graph that one line. So we're going to start from the point negative 3, 1. And what do we know about the second line? We know in order to be parallel, the slopes have to be the same. So let's use negative 2/3 again. We just use the same as before. Okay, so the slope of this line is going to be negative 2/3. So I'll go down to 1, 2, and over 3. 1, 2, 3. And there's our first point. I could do another 2 just for kicks. And that's where my line is going to be. It's going to go through that part. All right, so now I just graph the line. So I use my straight edge, and I'm going to go ahead and freehand it. If you don't have a straight edge, you can do that as well, but do your best. I would draw more points if that were the case. And look at the lines. Do they look like they'll never touch? Yeah, for the naked eye, it looks like it'll be pretty close. Okay, so that's how you do it. You graph the line that's parallel to, then you find the slope, use that slope for the new line starting from the point that needs to be on the new line. Okay, all right, go ahead and pause and finish that part up. Let's go to the next part. Example 3, draw the line that is parallel to y equals negative 3 and passes through negative 4, 2. All right, so let's start with the line. The line we want to be parallel to is y equals negative 3. Remember from the other video about about vertical and horizontal lines, y equals negative 3 means there's no slope. It doesn't go up and down. It's a straight line. It's a straight line. It's a horizontal line because let's think about this. Where does y equal negative 3? 1, 2, 3 down. There's y equals negative 3. Are there any more y's that equal negative 3? Yeah. There's a y equals negative 3 here. Y equals negative 3. Y equals negative 3. All these points is where y equals negative 3. Okay, each one of those. So because of that, there's also points in between those. So there's an infinite amount of points. So rather than drawing like a million points, I'm just going to draw a solid line because that covers all my bases. So I'm going to draw a line all the way through. And there's my line y equals negative 3. Now I need to make a parallel line to that. So the parallel line needs to go through negative 4, 2. So let's draw that point first. 1, 2, 3, 4, and up 2. Okay, so it needs to be parallel to this one, so they should never touch. So it won't go on an angle like this, because those will intersect. It's got to be straight across, like that. Okay, and that makes sense. Because this is a horizontal line, then the other line should be horizontal. Okay, and this line is going to be y equals whatever the y value is. We went up 1, 2, like it says right there. So that means that this is y equals 2, because all of these points, and in between those, y equals 2. It's a constant number. Okay, all right, so that's how you graph parallel lines with horizontal or verticals. Let's go ahead and summarize what we've learned. How do you graph parallel lines? We know that parallel lines have the same slope, but different y-intercepts. Okay, make sure you have that down. Keep working hard. I appreciate all your hard work. If you need anything, let me know. I'm here to help. Right now, I just want to tell you,
excellent work on completing this tutorial. If you like this video, be sure to give it a big thumbs up and subscribe to Mr. Connally's Math and Mr. Connally's High School Math channels to get updates on future videos. Thanks for watching.
MrConnally.com